going to be led by Marcus May, who's getting ready to retire after 29 years. Wow. Thank you very much for your service to this community and this police department. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And then we'll be led, I've lost my paper. Chaplain McCann.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Let us pray. Almighty and everlasting God, hear our prayer this day for the dedicated women and men of the Kansas City, Missouri Police Department who have answered the call to serve and protect the people of this great city. Watch over them with your heavenly grace, strengthen them in their trials, give them courage to handle the perils which beset them, and bless them with a sure and certain knowledge of your abiding presence in every circumstance. May your holy angels guard them as they faithfully go about their duties. Now we lift up to you the members of the Board of Police Commissioners, for the weight of the responsibilities they bear is great. Guide and direct them in all their deliberations. Bless them with profound wisdom to perceive what is right, and grant them courage to pursue it. May their decisions always promote the common good and the welfare of all your people, in accordance with your just and holy will. All this we pray in your most holy name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. And now we're going to come down and do some, you can sit down, some awards. First, Bishop Mark Tolbert.
Thank you.
Whereas Mark C. Tolbert has faithfully served the Kansas City Police Department for 6 years as a commissioner of the Kansas City Board of Police Commissioners from 2017 until 2023, including serving as the president from April 2021 to May 2023, and vice president from May 2020 to April 2021. And whereas Mark C. Tolbert is the president, bishop, and overseer of Victorious Life Church, previously known as Christ Temple Church. And whereas in 1999, Mark C. Tolbert founded the Lee A. Tolbert Community Academy Charter School, which has grown to an enrollment of over 500 students. And whereas Mark C. Tolbert has served as president of the Concerned Clergy Coalition of Greater Kansas City, president of Sparrow Community Development Corporation, board member of the Friends of Sacred Structures, president of Lee A. Tolbert Community Academy Charter School Board, diocesan bishop of the Canadian District Council, and diocesan bishop of the Heart of America Council of Churches of the Pentecostal Assemblies of the World. And whereas in 2018, Mark C. Tolbert was nominated and elected to be the first assistant presiding bishop of the Pentecostal Assemblies of the World. And whereas Mark C. Tolbert attended Penn Valley Community College and holds a doctorate in divinity from Western Baptist Bible College. And whereas Mark C. Tolbert has been an outstanding member of the Board of Police Commissioners of Kansas City, Missouri Police Department, and has exemplified those qualities which are found in the finest law enforcement leaders throughout the country. And whereas Mark C. Tolbert's extraordinary leadership, vast knowledge, wise counsel, and dedicated service will be greatly missed. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Board of Police Commissioners of Kansas City, Missouri hereby expresses its sincere gratitude and genuine appreciation for Mark C. Tolbert's leadership, counsel, and tireless service to the Kansas City Police Department and the City of Kansas City, Missouri, and its sorrow at his retirement as a member of the Board of Police Commissioners of Kansas City, Missouri in November 2023. Whereas Diane F. Peters has faithfully served as senior trial attorney in the Missouri Attorney General's office since January 28th of 2005, and whereas since 2005, Diane F. Peters has skillfully handled a multitude of civil lawsuits and claims filed against the Board of Police Commissioners of Kansas City, Missouri, and its members. And whereas Diane F. Peters has assisted in training cadets, officers, sergeants, and commanders of the Kansas City, Missouri Police Department on such diverse topics as defense tactics, patrol procedures, use of firearms, and pursuit driving. And whereas Diane F. Peters has made numerous other training presentations on legal issues facing police officers and attorneys at various other law enforcement institutions, including the International Association of Chiefs of Police and the Missouri Highway Patrol Command Staff. And whereas Diane F. Peters has served as an assistant instructor at the Trial Training School at the University of Missouri-Columbia School of Law, and whereas Diane F. Peters was a co-founder of the Women Lawyers Association of Mid-Missouri and founder and president of the Women's Political Caucus of Mid-Missouri, and whereas Diane F. Peters received her Juris Doctor degree from the University of Missouri-Columbia School of Law in 2002, and her Bachelor of Arts degree from the University of Missouri-Columbia in 1999, and whereas Diane F. Peters has been a good friend and supporter of the Kansas City, Missouri Police Department and has exemplified those qualities which are found in the finest law enforcement agency counsel throughout the country, and whereas Diane F. Peters' vast knowledge, wise counsel, and dedicated service will be greatly missed. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Board of Police Commissioners of Kansas City, Missouri hereby expresses its sincere gratitude and genuine appreciation for Diane F. Peters' counsel and tireless service to the Kansas City, Missouri Police Department and its sorrow at her retirement in 2023.
And if I can add just a little bit more, Diane has attended this department in over nearly 300 cases, but she didn't just wing it. She attended in-service. She did DUI checkpoints. If there was, she did taser training. So if there was a way for her to learn about us, she never missed the opportunity. And we really consider her one of our own. And we're sorry to see you go, but we're happy for you.
Thank you. He takes care of me. I don't know what I'll do without him. And I know Diane may not stay for the whole meeting, and I want to say in front of the microphone rather than down there, you've given us such great counsel. We could trust you. You gave us good news. You gave us bad news. You told us the truth and helped us do our very best. So we will miss you. Now we have the mayor's designee, which has been Councilman Chrisman before and is today, and I hope you will continue because we appreciate the continuity. We obviously enjoy the other members of the council, but it's helpful for us to get to hear from you from time to time, so welcome.
Thank you, I appreciate that. Not a lot to cover today. Seems like it's been short turnaround since our last meeting.
You're right, about 2 weeks, maybe 3.
That's what it feels like. I hadn't looked at it on my calendar, but I assumed that was the case with the holidays coming up. A couple items of note. This last week, the City Council passed an ordinance that classified opioids such as fentanyl in our same classification, that requires 24-hour reporting from medical providers that will allow us to do better data collection, excuse me, and detection to promote our overall public health approach to responding to this crisis. We received a presentation from our health department that, with the limited data we have, showed the extent to which this crisis has a grip on our community. One statistic that stood out to me is that the opioid-related opioid-related overdose deaths are outpacing our homicide rate. And we all are well aware of where our homicide rate is. We can see fairly high concentrations in certain communities and certain parts of town. Some of those are in the district that I represent, which is the 4th District. And so this is a good step in the right direction of our overall public health approach to having good data, to detecting where this crisis is occurring, and that will inform future opportunities, whether it be working with law enforcement or continuing our public health approach. I would actually encourage you all to invite our public health officials to come and give a similar presentation. It was fairly eye-opening and informative for council members, and so I would suggest that you have our health folks come and show you some of the information that we have. That's one point. The second point that I want to update you on is the Municipal Rehabilitation and Detention Center Committee continues its work. We have our next hearing scheduled for Tuesday, November 28th, I believe. Chief Graves and KCPD are scheduled to present and give us some helpful insight and information into our jail bed needs. And then after that, we are going to have a presentation early December from municipal courts and the municipal prosecutor, which I think will also be informative. Again, the hope is to have a recommendation to the full council by sometime in mid-January, and I believe we're on track to get there, but we've got a lot of hard work ahead of us. One other thing I want to point out, and this is just a casual observation of mine as I've been at various community meetings across the city, particularly neighborhood association meetings. We've had a lot of folks who are very upset about the extent to which some of our communities are experiencing crime. And in those meetings, there has often been a representative from the police department or an officer or a community relations officer who's responded to those concerns and answered questions and done so with a great deal of professionalism and poise. And so I want you all to know that our officers at these meetings are doing a good job of addressing what have been some pretty angry folks. And I see that as a council member, and I know I'm not the only council member that's seeing that. So I want to thank you all and the work that officers are doing at those meetings. And then the last thing, and this is not so much completely in my capacity as a council member, I have for about 3 or 4 years been a board member of the Police Athletic League, the center located over 17th and White. I actually grew up going to that center, engaging in sports and recreational opportunities, grew up right down the street. We had our annual gala event last weekend to raise money for the POW Center. I don't know the overall amount that was raised, but I think the auction did really well. I want to extend an invitation to you all, if you haven't been, to tour that facility, to please come down. If you have been to the facility, come down again. There have been some incredible improvements even within these last couple months that the board and the POW Center has implemented. I'd be happy to join and participate in the tour. But they're doing some incredible work there, and as we work to rebuild the trust between the community and the police department, I think the POW Center is an important piece of that strategy in bringing together cops and kids and humanizing folks in those communities. So that's all the update that I have. I'm happy to answer any questions you might have.
Well, first, thank you for your work with the POW Center. It is a fabulous facility, and I was there this summer when they had one of their open house luncheons. And we get reports, the one, I don't have the numbers in front of me, but over 1,000 people were served this month at the PAL Center, and they do help them study. And there are people that think it's just kids, boys playing basketball, is what people have said to me. And I've said, absolutely not. It is all kinds of things. It is boys and girls. They have wonderful staff, and they help them. They're tutored. They help them study. I can't give you all the list, but anyone who's not been should go and see it. And thank you for working on it. And it is a wonderful facility. Thank you. Now, I also want us, Colonel, you're in charge today. I would like to have the presentation that he mentioned from the city health people. Obviously, we are just as concerned about the crime that we're having. And if it is health-related, which is what a lot of the things you read, a lot of the studies say, you should look at it as a public health issue. And I know the city has done that in the past, and this is obviously one of the things. So I'd like for us to see that presentation and make sure that you probably already know about it, but for everyone that attends these meetings to know about what the city is doing and how we can help them.
And I'd be happy to facilitate that on our end as well.
Well, then, Colonel, you know who to call. Thank you, and
All
thank
right.
you for coming. We
Yeah.
appreciate it.
Thank you all. Have a happy Thanksgiving.
Same to you. Okay.
All right.
But I agree with you. I'm so careful not to say something, saying we don't. Obviously, the chief's not here today, and I've never said why she's not here. Is there some sort of public statement?
She had an unexpected death in the family, and yeah, I don't think that's a secret. Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you. We care and we know, but we didn't want to just ignore the fact that she's missing.
Of course.
We
Thank you.
care about her.
Yes, ma'am. So literally since last December, we have been working to put a project together that is really a very unique opportunity. It involves the Arbinger Institute, which is a global leadership training group. It involves Axon, which is a law enforcement technology company that have a multiple large array of products. And it also involves the University of Georgetown, that are actually going to do a peer-reviewable study on this project. And I just got notification this morning from our IT team that we are going to go live with the CAD technological part of this project on Friday. So I've asked Jack Caldwell to come and kind of inform the board about the project and what it means and what it's going to look like. Jack is a retired member of the Kansas City, Missouri Police Department and has been with, you were actually with Arbinger even before you retired, correct?
Well, not
You were
with them, but
affiliated
yeah.
at least, but then you've been with them ever since, I believe. So, yeah, thank you, Jack. Go ahead.
All right. Well, thank you, board members, for your service and this opportunity to brief you on this project. This month, as Steve was just explaining, the Kansas City, Missouri Police Department is going to begin to emerge as prominent in evidence-informed policing. And it's really going to be happening through these partnerships, which Steve's already mentioned, My90, which is part of Axon, one of the foremost providers of public safety technologies. The researchers from Georgetown University in historic Washington, D.C., specialize in both leadership and in human technology interface. And they're going to be involved with this as the research partners. And the Arbinger Institute, which has emerged as a leadership development expert. So Kansas City, Missouri Police Department is going to play a central role in this opportunity to elevate a distinctive leadership program where effectiveness is informed and updated by what's can be called the voice of the community. The community for KCPD leaders includes department members and the broader community the members serve each and every day. While, as Steve explained, planning has been going on with KCPD for several months, the idea around this project started over a decade ago, and it's been developing ever since. And it's going to start with what we call pre-treatment data collection later this week, as Steve mentioned. So it's a good time to be bringing this up. It will consist of My90, an arm of Axon, engaging the Kansas City, Missouri Police Department's computer-aided dispatch system to survey and receive feedback from community members who call, opt to receive text updates, and then receive police service. So they're going to receive a survey at the end of that if they've opted into these helpful text updates. Axon will also deploy internal surveys to gather input from police department members to gauge member satisfaction with the department's leadership and existing organizational culture. KCPD leaders and researchers with Georgetown will be able to measure how the current department culture and leadership support affect the members and thus the broader community. Early in 2024, a team from Arbinger will begin providing their outward leadership solution, including training, implementation support, and coaching to a randomly selected, what's called treatment group of half the patrol sergeants, along with the officers that report to them and all the captains in patrol. So a little more background about Arbinger. Has been engaged with hundreds of organizations and thousands of uniformed service members in the military and public safety for over 40 years, and honing a process through all this engagement to improve the quality of personal and professional relationships, which has been proven to be effective in every aspect of human endeavor. Enhance situational awareness, safety, and decision-making. Help members improve their impact upon one another and the broader community, and to own it and take personal responsibility for it. Strengthen a sense of belonging to enhance psychological safety and well-being. And then actually push transparency and accountability up the chain while delivering help and support down the chain, which is kind of a very unique process. The survey insight, information coming back, combined with the support of Arbinger, KCPD can begin to build a remarkable culture among its leaders. These leaders will increasingly accept voluntary responsibility for owning and improving their impact on their team and thus the broader community. They will do so by providing officers with direct help and support. Outstanding leaders inspire members and thus community members to feel valued, trusted, and empowered. My90 will anonymize all feedback data before sharing it with the academic team from Georgetown University. Georgetown University will continue gathering this anonymized response data from KCPD and community members during the implementation stage of the solution. Georgetown plans to leverage this data collected into a peer-reviewed study demonstrating both Kansas City, Missouri Police Department's members' influential capacity, along with gauging the solution's effectiveness. Later, the feedback from the community will be collected and shared with KCPD and anonymized for a broader community, providing unprecedented transparency for impact and accountability for development. All feedback regarding and from individual officers will be considered protected personnel information. And while leveraging the feedback to improve how supervisors care for and develop officers, KCPD will neither initiate discipline nor refer to the Office of Community Complaints based on dissatisfaction ratings in and of themselves. So that's all we have. Thank you very much.
And if I may add, I should have mentioned up front, both Arbinger, they're going to provide all this training, which is no small degree of training, and Axon is providing their My90 product. Both entities are doing it free of charge just to be a part of this project.
I was going to ask that because I think we talked about it earlier. Thank you. It's a very generous offer. It's an exciting opportunity, and I'm pleased that our department's going to be part of it. I think we can use the data it'll be helpful for us.
And it's being used now in what departments across the country?
I'm not sure who's using the My90 product now, but I can say confidently, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, Jack, but this is the first time that this endeavor's taken place where Arbinger provides the training, My90, takes the data and surveys from the community and our own department and measures the effectiveness of the training and our leadership as well. So I don't think it's been done before.
It sounds very exciting. Yeah.
I really applaud your efforts. Anytime we can focus on culture and leadership capabilities, that's a significant initiative. Do you have a sense of the cadence about when the reports would be available, when the university would be able to give us some kind of feedback? I know it's probably going to be ongoing, but.
Well, I can tell you that, obviously, I said this Friday, I think they're going to activate the computer-aided dispatch survey portion. Georgetown's hoping to have several months of pre-treatment data, and then we probably are going to start the Arbinger training sometime late January, early February at latest, I believe. And so then probably sometime after that. But this is going to be ongoing transparency. So we intend to, and our hope is to even have a dashboard to a degree that's online perhaps, to show the ongoing level of satisfaction from the community even before the Arbinger, or before the Georgetown product is finished as a paper. And so we intend on getting it out there to the best that we can. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you.
That's very good.
Colonel Ortiz?
Yes, ma'am. Good morning, Commissioners.
Morning.
My information is under tab B in your books. On the following pages, you will find today's daily homicide analysis report with some information. As you can see, in 2023, we had 162 homicides from 153 incidents. This year, we cleared 87 homicides and 32 homicides from previous years, for a total of 119 cases. This brings our average of clearance to 73%, and 73% of the homicides that happened in 2023 are solved or cleared. In October, we had 11 homicide victims. Of those 11 cases, 2 are clear by arrest. 3 of them were working on securing charges, and the rest, 6 that are still open, are under investigation. I also have a breakdown of the October homicides by division. As you can see, 3 happened in Central Patrol Division, 5 in Metro, 3 in East Patrol, and 0 in North, South, and Shoal Creek. In October, the primary reason of 7 of these homicides remains unknown. 1 homicide was due to domestic violence, 1 is due to drugs, 1 due to self-defense, and 1 was due to an argument. So far, there have been 5 homicide victims in November compared to 1 last year during the same time period. You also have a copy of the non-fatal shooting comparison report. You will find that from January 1st to October 31st, 2023, there were 441 non-fatal shooting victims. In 2022, we had 466 victims during the same time period, which is down 6% compared to last year. In October 2023, we had 60 non-fatal shooting victims compared to 53 in October of the previous year. That is an increase of 13% for the month. And we believe the reasons for that increase is we had 3 separate incidents with multiple victims. We had, for example, a shooting on 10th Street that had 5 victims. Then we had another incident in downtown with 3 victims, and then another incident on 77th Street with also 3 victims, so that brought our average up. The Violent Crimes Division handled 60 shooting victims in the month of October, That included 52 cases. The assault unit handled 46 cases with 55 shooting victims. The robbery unit handled 3 cases involving robberies. The domestic violence unit handled 2 cases. And the homicide unit handled 1 case that involved a living victim from a homicide case. Out of the 46 cases that the assault unit handled, 28 are still active cases. 10 are closed due to uncooperation from the victim. 2 cases suspended pending leads. 2 cases submitted to Jackson County prosecutors. 2 cases with warrants issued, and 2 cases with charges filed. So far, there have been 18 non-fatal shooting victims in November compared to 11 by this time last year. In October, we submitted 294 cases to county prosecutors. 229 of those cases were to Jackson County, 41 to Clay County, 24 to Platte County, and 0 to Cass County. That concludes that presentation, but I want to take some time to say thank you to Sergeant Marcus May for faithfully serving Kansas City PD and Kansas City, the city of Kansas City, for 29 years. Marcus and I met about 23 years ago when we were both in separate squads doing self-initiated proactive work. And I remember the topic that we always talked about was, why was my squad more successful than his in positive results? We'll talk about it for a long time, but it was one of the best officers to ever do it. And Marcus, we're gonna miss you, my friend. You have been so professional, and you did it with care, and the dedication that he showed to the police department, the loyalty, is remarkable. Thank you, Marcus. That concludes my presentation, unless you have any questions.
No, thank you.
Thank you.
Colonel Maben?
Good morning.
Good morning.
My information is under tab C in your books, and you also can follow along on your screen. We'll begin with some notable events over the past month. We talked about the Police Athletic League earlier. They had 1,245 visits during the month of October. They had 28 kids participate in tutoring programs, resulting in 83 tutoring sessions and 105 tutoring hours in total.
Thank you for giving these correctly. All I could do was from memory, so excellent.
Well, I was impressed. That was pretty close. PAL also participated in a boxing event hosted by KCK PAL and held a track or treat event at the PAL Center. In fact, most all of the patrol divisions held either a trick or treat event or participated in one over the past month. PAL also hosted Gladstone Elementary School's LEAD program last month. And that's a day where students visit the PAL Center, participate in an activity to learn life lessons, and then also play games. Moving on to the CIT section. In partnership with the Kansas City Veterans Administration and several Kansas law enforcement agencies, CIT hosted the first multi-state Veterans CIT course in the region. The Veteran CIT course, which has previously only been offered in Missouri, is designed to address specific mental health issues that can arise from personnel who served in the military. It also brings awareness to the unique experiences and needs of veterans, such as enhanced sensitivity to triggers that can impact that population. Next up is North Patrol Division. From September 7th to October 14th, there were 4 robberies or attempted robberies at the same gas station in the division. In response, Major Keith Kirkhoff directed his officers to reach out to the business's owners to develop a safety plan. This outreach yielded positive results. The owners implemented additional security measures to include magnetic locks, safety glass, and provided detectives footage from their camera system. The robbery unit was able to develop persons of interest, which led to the tactical response team members, North Patrol officers, and robbery detectives executing a search warrant at an apartment nearby. One of the suspects was arrested and charged in custody by Platte County, and a second suspect has been identified and an arrest warrant has been issued. Since the initial arrest, there have been no further robberies at the gas station, and this is an excellent example of how police and community working together can solve problems and make the city safer. Special Operations Division's tactical response teams handled the following incidents during the month of October: 6 Operation 100s, 3 search warrants for criminal investigations. They made 30 warrant arrests, 3 felon in possession of firearms arrests, 2 stolen auto arrests, as well as the arrest of an individual with the Riley County, Kansas warrant for rape. They also provided active shooter safety presentations for several businesses and nonprofit groups. Upcoming division crime meetings. As I mentioned during last board meeting, each patrol division station holds a monthly crime meeting for the community to discuss crime stats, trends, and to engage in problem solving. We'll send notices of these meetings to our community contacts, to neighborhood groups, and to city officials. But here's a list of upcoming meetings. Metro Patrol Division will have one on November 16th, South Patrol, November 21st, East Patrol on November 29th, and North Patrol Division on December 2nd. Each of these meetings will be held at the respective patrol division station. Moving on to October's median response time report. The median response time for priority 1 calls during the month of October was approximately 8 minutes and 23 seconds. That's a 5-second decrease compared to September. The median response time for priority 2 calls was 10 minutes and 50 seconds. That's a 2-second decrease from the previous month. And the average 911 hold time for October was 34 seconds, which is a 3-second decrease from September and an 8-second decrease from August.
And I know you all know this, but we don't think hold time is acceptable at any point. We're trying to make it down to 0, but we track it so that we are accountable to ourselves for whether we're able to do that or not. Thank you.
Traffic Division. Each year, the Traffic Division takes the lead in organizing the street closure and traffic plan for the Kansas City Marathon. This is a huge undertaking involving coordinating over 160 law enforcement traffic control positions. This year, the event was held on October 21st. We had 70 members from the Traffic Division work the marathon, along with over 50 other department members, as well as troopers from the Highway Patrol, Jackson and Clay County deputies, and race volunteers from the community. I want to thank all who worked the event, but especially the traffic officers who also worked a street enforcement operation all weekend and a Chiefs game on that Sunday. The Traffic Investigation Unit responded to 7 fatal crashes with a total of 10 deaths and 26 serious injury crashes during the month of October. 2 of the fatalities were hit-and-run crashes, and suspects have been developed. Cases will be submitted once all the evidence has been analyzed. 1 crash was a double fatality, and an individual was charged in custody. Another crash was a triple fatality. That case was exceptionally cleared with the death of the offender. The 3 remaining fatal crashes will be presented to prosecutors upon completion of the investigations. Our DUI section conducted 7 wolf pack operations with a combined total of 81 traffic stops, 126 tickets issued, and 39 DUI arrests. The section also conducted 3 presentations to youth groups about the dangers of driving under the influence of alcohol. Now, we previously mentioned how the DUI section plays an important part in keeping motorists safe, but also wanted to recognize the efforts of the commercial vehicle inspection section at keeping highways safe. I've I've asked them to provide a brief presentation to let you know a little bit more about their unit.
Good morning, and thank you
Morning.
for having us today.
We're glad to have you, and I think we approved a new vehicle for you all last year. 3 new vehicles last month.
Yes, ma'am.
Or 2 weeks ago, whatever.
Yes, ma'am.
Glad to have you here.
Well, we're happy to be here. Thank you. I'm Mike Ward, Chris Proschek, Shannon Craven, and Matt Phelps. We are the full-time members of the Commercial Vehicle Enforcement Unit, and thanks for having us. We are a grant-funded unit. 95% of our salaries and our vehicles and everything is covered under the Federal Motor Carrier Safety Assistance Program, which is also under the Motor Carrier Safety Assistance Program grant. There's 7 full-time positions that are allocated by the MCSAP grant. Currently, it's just the 3 officers and myself. So with, hopefully when staffing improves a little bit, we can get a couple more back over. We are trained in all the federal regulations concerning commercial vehicle safety. It involves 7 weeks of training and then an extensive on-the-job training after that. Once that's done, then we can conduct inspections on our own. We randomly stop and inspect commercial vehicles throughout the city that normally wouldn't get stopped by, say, at the scale houses because they're local. They don't go outside the area. They're all just local in the metro area. So we get our hands on them, make sure that they're licensed, that they're safe, that they're trained, that they are doing what they're supposed to do and not creating a hazard for our roadways. This is just a random selection of pictures of some of the stops that we've made and helped with. We do way more than this, but we just kind of condensed it. Here on the left, we have a hazardous materials load that was unsecured that flopped out on the ground. The tire in the middle was from an interdiction stop that we're helping with. And then we have brake components on the right that are absolutely ineffective. It's just some of the things that we get underneath the trucks and we find throughout our day. That's what you see there is, 80,000 pounds of, going down the highway that can't stop. So it's a good day when we get our hands on these. In July, we did a project with the Highway Patrol to help curb the amount of trash that was blowing off the trucks on the interstates. Channel 9 did a ride along with Matt Phelps here, and throughout the day, the story was really good. It was a positive story. It was nice. So we did that. They found multiple violations during their day, and I believe they definitely helped get the word out. Here on the left is an unsecured concrete load. The bags were just falling off the truck. And then little humanity there on the top right is Chris and one of our part-time inspectors, Lance. This all started in 1982 is when this program got started, and it's been going in Kansas City Police Department ever since. We're happy to be a part of it and help out the city. I know that what we do definitely affects roadway safety by stopping, identifying, getting these trucks off the road and these drivers, and just getting the word out, because we also do educational. We go to trucking companies and we do educational presentations. We help with curbing and fighting human trafficking. We partner with Truckers Against Trafficking. We do programs like that. Thank you for your time. We appreciate it.
Thank you for your work. I mean, it's so important. And as you said, if they're not on those scale houses, if they're just in town all the time, nobody's going to look at them. So, thank you.
And we invite anybody to come do a ride along with us, and we'll get you on a creeper and get you under the truck, okay?
No, thank you. It was nice of you to offer.
Thank you.
And that concludes my presentation.
Excellent presentation, thank you.
Thank you.
Colonel Niemeyer, I don't think anyone stole your thunder today. You may not have any.
Not really. It's only been 2 weeks.
True.
My items are under tab D. You can follow along with the presentation. First slide is obviously always department strength. Remember that this was as of October the 31st. We were at 1,089. We had 59 police officer candidates, 503 on professional staff, and 5 board police commissioners. Just to make an adjustment so that you are aware, we did have that we don't have 59 right now in the academy. We had the 23 that graduated 2 days later on November the 2nd. So if you take those 23 and add it to the 1089, that puts us at 1,112 as of November the 2nd. So I always said, I say this almost every board meeting, we have our board meetings are usually later in the month and we get our numbers from the previous. So just to give you an update on where we stand is 1,112. So that's gonna be the number that we're at because we won't have any additional academy classes graduating for the end of the year. So just be aware that that number is gonna go down next month and then it'll go down again for whatever retirements or resignations we have, and that's the number that we'll land on. I spoke to Commissioner Whitaker last board meeting, and what we plan on doing is in January, giving a full report of what happened throughout the year on how many people retired each month, resignations, you ask about exit evals, and go over all of that once we're concluded in December, and then in January, give a full report to the board on all the exit evals and other things. So that's where the number will be. We'll land somewhere south of 1,112. Right now for our class, it's going to be starting the 181st class, which is going to start next May. Right now we have 12 people in the process. We also have already given out 3 job offers. And then on November the 20th, which is next Monday, we will add 2 additional members to the department as lateral transfers and rehires. So we will add 2 more next week. Oh, yeah, March. Did I say May? Next March is when the next academy class starts,
Good.
sorry.
I had a question about that.
Yeah, I apologize.
It's okay.
Um,
You're
communi-
just seeing if I'm paying attention.
It's in March. It's coming up on another slide. New hires for communications. Yesterday, we started 6 additional employees in communications, which is very exciting for our communications department. We have 3 pending job offers out, and we have 4 people that are in the process. So I continue to say we are making progress towards that and have been for several months. So,
And you probably saw, we get public comments that are emailed in, and there was a woman who, I think it was a woman, who watched the meeting last week and had worked in communications before and had several different suggestions of things that we can do on staffing and that sort of thing. And she knew that we were trying to come up with things like part-time work. I mean, I'd like for you or somebody in your department to look at her letter. It was very thoughtful, and she said, you know, I didn't work at KCPD, so I don't know, but here's some ideas. And I think anything we can do to come up with more people to take those calls would be great. One of the things she suggested is there are people that have problems providing, getting childcare, and they said some communications places allow them to work Saturday and Sunday, just Saturday and Sunday, which, of course, the people that are working all week would love not to have to work Saturday and Sunday. So we need to think about some thinking outside the box, as the bishop would say. If you'd read that letter, I'd appreciate it.
our upcoming law enforcement testing dates, this Thursday, November the 16th, December the 13th, January the 20th, and February the 22nd. We always put those up there. You can find those on the KCPD website. Those are for, all of those testing dates will be for that March class. Again, apply at kcpd.org/careers. As you can see, I will say each month when we go to this page and we post different positions, I always get a phone call of, don't forget about, and then you can fill in the blank. So this month is, you know, a lot of our professional staff is on there, parking control, we have automotive, computer services, our administrative positions, a lot of professional staff jobs available, not just law enforcement. But I'd also like to say we are going to be putting out in the next month the positions for CSI investigations and starting a list for more CSI. We're also going to have an opening in our firearms section at the lab. And while I'm on here, I mentioned it last month about our internship program. Kevin Weiner, our director at the lab, will start accepting applications January the 1st for the internship program at the crime lab. So next month at the board meeting, we will include the LE side of internships and the crime lab side, but we mentioned it last month slightly about our internship program and how well we feel like it's becoming a success, and we're putting people in the police academy from it. But anyone who's listening, start looking for January the 1st is when you can apply to be an intern at our crime lab. I wanted to also mention our wellness unit. It went from 1 person to 3 this month. That's Joe Trombino on our left, Rob Blim, the supervisor in mental, and Carrie Baker on the right. They have begun to go to each and every roll call. I have gotten some feedback, and it's very favorable about the feedback. They have discussed the new EAP program with our officers, and hopefully I just wanted to get their faces out there so that people would know around the department that this is your wellness unit. They are available 24. You know, you can give them a call. We will get you in contact with a wellness person if you need that section. Recruitment events the last 2 weeks. We're at the Plaza Library, Fort Osage High School, Excelsior Springs Job Corps, and also the Career Expo down at Bartle Hall. You can see some of the pictures from that. And then as stated earlier, we had a graduation on November the 2nd for the 178th intern officer class. The 179th class will graduate on February the 8th. The 180th just started at the day before our last board meeting. And then again, the 181st will be our next class, and it begins March the 18th of 2024. And that concludes my presentation unless you have any questions.
Any questions? Thank you very much. Next, Colonel McCollum.
Morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
All items for the Executive Services Bureau is under tab E of your board book. Item A, budget transfers for fiscal year 2023-24. I request general fund and police grant fund transfers. The general fund transfer moves $810,000 from personal services to contractual services. Due to appropriation cuts to contractual services, this transfer is necessary to ensure sufficient funding in categories for the normal operation of the department. The police grants fund transfer moves $20,300 from personal services in the amounts of $4,375 to contractual services, $5,925 to commodities, and $10,000 to capital outlay. The police grant fund transfers adjust appropriations to where they are needed now compared to when they were estimated in the fall of 2022 as the budget was being put together. Unless you have any questions, I recommend approval.
Is there a motion?
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 Motion carries.
Does she have her speaker off?
Dawn said she wouldn't be able to do the
Oh.
voting.
Okay.
She's listening on her phone, and she's in the hospital.
Oh.
So it's a little tricky. Mr. Kenner, are you concerned that we just have 3 people voting?
No, that's a quorum.
Thank you. Next.
Item B, renewal of bid number 2022-2, installation of law enforcement emergency equipment. On November 16, 2021, the board approved a one-year contract to KCOM Incorporated for the installation of law enforcement emergency equipment. The original contract period was from December 1st, 2021 through November 30th, 2022, with 4 additional one-year periods based upon mutually agreeable pricing, available funding, and quality of service. The department anticipates spending $345,053.62 with a 20% contingency of $57,508.94 to help offset unexpected increases in labor or materials. The department has used KCOM since March 2008. This will be the second renewal period and will extend from December 1st, 2023 through November 30th, 2024. Unless you have any questions, I recommend approval.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries.
Item C, deobligation of Mid-America Regional Council subaward. The Mid-America Regional Council passed through the fiscal year 2022 Department of Homeland Security subaward to KCPD. The subaward for $201,399 with a department match of $75,000 was intended to fund a new strategic rescue vehicle. The Police Foundation of Kansas City has since committed to purchasing the department a new strategic rescue vehicle with no required department match. Unless you have any questions, I recommend deobligating the funds back to the Mid-America Regional Council.
So I'm not good on deobligation. They have the money in a grant that we can have, and they sent it to us. Is that right? And now we're saying we don't need it because we're so lucky to have the Police Foundation do the whole thing, so we're sending it back to them. Is that right?
Yes, those funds were sent over or obligated for the purchase of this specific item, and since we are not going to do that, we can't just reappropriate it. We send it back to them.
Send it back. That's good. That deobligated is not, it's not a term I'm familiar
Trust me, I like to
with.
keep money when and where I can, but
Okay.
can't here.
I understand. That sounds fine. I'm sorry, did I get a vote on
No,
that?
so moved.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries.
That's all I have for you today.
Good for you.
Thank you. This went well.
We won't comment. Colonel Young.
Yes, ma'am. My first item is the Deferred Comp Committee has met and has recommended re-upping with Nationwide as a provider for deferred compensation, and I recommend approval.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion's been made. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
So,
Oh, I'm sorry.
Discussion.
You're right. Thank you. Is there any discussion?
I just had I just need a little bit more of an explanation on the assets and then participants with a balance. I read it, but I didn't quite grasp it.
Brad, do you want to? Okay. Sergeant Lemon, who's with the Deferred Comp Committee, is here today in case there are any detailed questions.
Excellent. Welcome, Mr. Lemon.
Good morning. I chair the committee. I think Matt Phelps is gone. He's also on it. We went through this entire bid process with a number of providers. It was an easy selection. Our members are incredibly happy with Nationwide and the performance that they've given us. The bid was sweetened a lot by increasing the fixed account. So we were pretty happy with that. The question you have on the number of participants we have and the amount of money that we have in that plan, what is that question again? I didn't understand.
So it says the assets is like 135 million, but then it says participants with a balance in the plan. So that is just the number of people. There's 1,848 people?
There's 1,848 people, which would include active members on the police department and retirees that currently hold money in that account somewhere.
Got you. Okay. And the assets are managed by Nationwide?
Yes, they are. Well, they're held by Nationwide. They give us the plans. The assets are, they're actually held by us, but yes, the plan is specific. You can do self-directed, you can do a bunch of different things. So, but that's how much money's in the plan now.
All right. That clears up the fog that I had.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You were calling for the vote.
Right. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries.
Thank you. My second item is the evaluation policy. And if there are no questions, I recommend approval.
Move to approve.
Second?
Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, no. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you. General Counsel?
Good morning, Commissioners. I have 3 action items for you today, and they are under tab G of your notebook. And the first is a revision of proposed amendments to the Code of State Regulations. The Private Officer Licensing Unit is proposing to change its administrative rules to remove language regarding whether a license granted under Chapter 84 of the Revised Statutes of Missouri is a property interest. If you have any questions, I'm happy to try to answer them. Otherwise, the Private Officer Licensing Unit recommends approval of the changes in your board book.
I have to tell you, I was looking for the red line, and it's one word.
Yeah. Sometimes there are big sections we're changing, other times
Yes,
it's pretty
one word.
minor, so. Yeah.
Is there a motion to approve?
Move to approve.
Is there a second?
Second?
Motion's been made and seconded. Any discussion?
Just so I can understand, I think this minor change is to accommodate case law that recognizes a property interest, and so removing the words property interest brings us in line with the case law.
That's my understanding as well.
Thank you.
Any more discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, say no. Motion carries.
Thank you. And the second item I have for you today is an appeal by Felicity A. Garner of the denial of her application for an armed private security license. The basis for this denial was her resignation from the Carbondale, Kansas Police Department under questionable circumstances and failure to disclose this as part of her application for an armed private security license. While performing car stops as a Carbondale police officer, Garner opened TikTok live on her phone and then blocked 2 deputies trying to watch the car stop. She was terminated for policy violations and concerns regarding her dishonesty. When Garner applied for an unarmed private security license, she was asked on her application if she had left another department under threat of termination, and she answered no. The Private Officer Licensing Unit denied her application. Garner subsequently appealed, and this document is in your board book. If you have any questions for me or Tammy Gallagher, the manager of the POLU, we're happy to try to answer them. Otherwise, the Private Officer Licensing Unit recommends upholding this denial.
What's the pleasure of the board?
I move to uphold the denial.
Second?
Motion's been made and seconded. All those in favor say aye, and I think it's a roll call. Dean, aye.
Whitaker, aye.
Yeah, I don't think that has to be. roll
Doesn't
call.
have to be? All right. Aye.
So, aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you. And my final item is under the third divider behind tab G and is an appeal by Abigail Mata of the denial of her application for an unarmed private security license. The basis for this denial is Mata's felony conviction and failure to disclose this information on her application. In 2014, Mata was involved in an incident in which she admitted to stabbing a person during an altercation at a bar. Although there was initially a deferred judgment against her, in 2018 this was revoked and judgment was entered against her in Johnson County, Iowa for willful injury causing bodily injury and going armed with intent. When Mata applied for an unarmed private security license, she was asked, "Have you ever been convicted of a felony?" And she answered no. The Private Officer Licensing Unit denied her application for an unarmed private security license on October 26, 2023. MADA appealed, and her appeal is in your board book. If you have any questions for me or Manager Gallagher, we're happy to try to answer them. Otherwise, the Private Officer Licensing Unit recommends upholding this denial.
What's the pleasure of the board?
Move to uphold the denial.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, no. Motion carries.
Thank you, and the remainder of my report will be in the closed session.
Thank you. Now, Mr. Bennigan. Thank you. And before I call for public comments, Councilman O'Neill is here, and we really appreciate you coming. And if there's anything you'd like to say to us, we'd be happy to listen. I don't mean to call you out. It's very nice of you to be here, and we appreciate it. Thank you. Okay, public comments. None. My goodness. I can't even drum them up out of the audience. We did have good public comments that were sent in ahead of time. I talked to Colonel Maben about one of them, and I mentioned the other one to Colonel Niemeyer. So, all right. So next is approval of the minutes of the October 31st meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? No. Motion carries. Mr. Kenner, do you have anything?
Nothing at this time, thank you.
Thank you. Mayor Lucas is not here. Commissioner Tolbert.
So we're coming to the close of this meeting?
Yes, sir.
That is quick. I would just like to say to the deputy chiefs, and of course to the chief in her absence, it's been a very interesting 6 years, and I've learned a lot. I hope that my contribution has been taken genuinely, as I have attempted to have an open mind and leave every meeting with a clear conscience that what I did was in the best of the department and the city. It's a tough job, trying to find a balance and make sure that you represent community and you represent the police force, because it is a very necessary entity of our city. And so I want all of the men and women in blue to know that I respect you and appreciate the job you do. I wouldn't want to be in your shoes. I wouldn't want to do that job. But I am glad that I was able to be here and get a little closer, get a little more information. I've enjoyed working with these board members and, of course, the board members that I came on with back in 2017. It's amazing how 6 years go by so fast. And so I will be coming down and sitting in the audience from time to time. And so I look forward to just continued dialogue. And thank you all for all that you've done for me. And I hope that your futures are bright and that you do some great things for our city. Thank you.
Thank you. Tom?
I want to thank Commissioner Tolbert for his leadership and the warm welcome that you extended to me as I joined this board and helped me understand how this department and the board works. And so thank you very much for your contribution and your efforts here.
And I thank him more than you can know. He is a wonderful counselor and a truth teller. And those of you that have attended the meetings know that he will tell us what he thinks is right when it's not popular. And I've always appreciated his honesty and his tact at explaining what he thinks needs to be done. He has great vision. And those of you who came for the interviews for the people who were applying to be the chief, he presided at that meeting all day long. Public meeting with 3 people from different places, and you did a wonderful job in a situation which was not easy. And there were people that were not always happy, but he kept it professional, and I appreciate that public example of what I'd seen many different ways in different places. So thank you very much. We really appreciate you. And I think I need a motion to go into closed session.
So I think we need a motion to go out of.
Adjourn this meeting and go into closed session. He's good.
So a motion to go out of public session and go into closed session.
All those in favor say aye.
Now
And this
I
is
think we
a
need-
roll call vote.
Right.
Dean, aye.
Talbert, aye.
Whitaker, aye.
We'll be in closed session. Thank you all for coming.